As far as difficulty goes, forearm's the most difficult. The next most difficult to dissect is going to be your abdominal muscles because they are paper thin, okay? When you start those, if you haven't started them, which I don't think anybody in here really has, call one of us over to help because you can puncture into the intestines with really hardly putting any pressure on these, okay? And when I'm talking thin, the external obliques, internal obliques, transverse abdominis are literally about the thickness of a sheet of paper, okay? You can see through them when you dissect them because cats are not known for having big old six packs that they show off at the beach, okay? So the upper arm or upper ventral surface is pretty straightforward. When you guys are doing this, the easiest way is to grab whatever arm that you have skinned. So in this case, I would have skinned the left foreleg, and you just basically have one of your partners hold it as taut as it can go out like this. Okay, that stretches all of the muscles out. And then the easiest one is to find this band-shaped structure, the pectoantebrachialis. Okay, it gets its name because it's on the anterior side of the arm. It goes from where basically the pec would be in the human, and it connects to the arm. That's the brachialis part. Okay, it's a thin band of muscle that goes over to the arm, and it inserts roughly on the humerus. Does everyone understand what insertions and origins are? Okay, if you don't, your Fishbeck book has amazing insertions and origins, and it relates back to the skeletal system that you guys just went over. Pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, same names that we have for us. So if you guys remember human anatomy, it's the same thing. It's just located a little bit differently. Pec major is bigger, pec minor is a little bit smaller. Okay, they're triangular shaped muscles that run at the midline, right underneath the minor and the major, right underneath the pectoantebrachialis. The ziphiohumerales, which is the one that no student can ever say. The ziphiohumerales, if you didn't take a lot of care skinning the ventral surface of your cat, you can rip it off, okay? It's a thin band of muscle that goes from the xiphoid process of the sternum, so that little tip there, up to the humerus. That's how it gets its name. There's usually a fascia line between the ziphiohumeralis, the pectoralis minor, and the latissimus dorsi on the back side, or on the front side, sorry, on the ventral surface. So when you guys are looking for separation between muscles, take your hands and kind of squish the muscle fibers down, and that's going to free up a lot of the fascia lines. And when you separate muscles, you should get no fraying of fibers if you're separating them correctly. Okay, it should separate in a nice clean break. That's what these things are for. Okay, I can dissect an entire cat with scissors in this. If you guys are using scalpels when you're looking for muscles, you're doing it wrong. Okay, you're just going to tear them. Dorsal side of the cat is a little bit trickier. General rules you want to get down. There are 3 trapezius muscles and there are 3 deltoid muscles, okay? Where in the human was the deltoid? Okay, shoulder, where's the trapezius? Okay, right down the middle of the neck. So we've went from a quadruped animal to a biped animal in us, so we've fused a lot of these muscles into the deltoid. So you've got the clavodeltoid, which is also called the clavobrachialis. Okay, it's interchangeable. I don't care on the practical if you guys put either of those. Okay, I would suggest learning the clavodeltoid because you've got the acromiodeltoid and the spinodeltoid. All 3 of those, clavodeltoid, acromiodeltoid, spinodeltoid, all located in the shoulder of the cat. Okay, deltoid shoulder. That's a general rule that you should remember. Trapezius is going to be down the midline, right on the back, just like our trapezius is. Just like the clavodeltoid, there's a clavotrapezius. Just like an acromiodeltoid, there's an acromiotrapezius. Just like the spinodeltoid, there's a spinotrapezius. Okay, so those general trends will get you through 80% of the muscles on the back. Okay, there's also the little triangular muscle, the levator scapulae ventralis. That one's really hard to find because it adheres to the deltoid muscles, the acromiodeltoid, spinodeltoid, and acromiotrapezius really well. So when you're looking for that, try to dissect it out, but if you don't get there, it's not a big deal. You can usually see it without actually separating the fibers from it, okay? The that's one on the spine, acromiotrapezius. Yeah, acromiotrapezius is gonna be lying on top of your scapula. When you guys separate it, it's super thin. Do not bisect that one, okay? Just reflect it a little bit and you'll free up the infraspinatus, supraspinatus, subscapularis, all those kind of things, okay? There's a lot of terms here, but if you remember your human anatomy, 90% of the muscles are named exactly how they appear in the human. so it's not as bad as you guys think, okay? Plus we have 3 practical days to get this done. You guys have plenty of time to get through this stuff with reviewing time as long as you're focused in lab, okay? Latissimus dorsi, that's the big big wing-shaped thing on the side of us. It runs exactly the same with the cat, okay? It's just super thin. Really easy to start with, so if you're struggling to figure out where to start, call one of the SOAR. I'll show you where the latissimus dorsi is and we can start from there. Deep to that is your serratus ventralis, which is analogous to our serratus anterior. Okay, so it's this fan-shaped muscle that sits right here. Next to that is the scalenes. Okay, so all of those are deep to this musculature, and you can get to all of those by looking at the latissimus dorsi. You don't need to bisect the pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, that kind of stuff. Frankly, you'll just tear the crap out of it. Okay? Other things. You guys have to know the muscles that run up and down the spine. Okay, the longissimus dorsi, so there's a latissimus dorsi and a longissimus dorsi. Okay, so very close in spelling and saying, but they're in different parts of the body. Down here, which is not drawn to scale, so roughly in kind of the sacral area, the cat has a really thick fascia that sits there. You have to use your scissors and probably your scalpel, the one time you can use your scalpel, to free this up because it adheres to all those spinous processes on the spine, and it's super duper hard and fibrous to get through. So what I would do, and I always tell my students when I did this, cut a square across the entire back of the cat down there, probably about an inch probably in length, and then retract it like a book page and kind of fold it over, and that will free up your longissimus dorsi. The other dorsi muscle, which is escaping me at right now, I totally forgot it. Do you remember that one?
Spinalis.
Yeah, the spinalis dorsi. That one's farther up. Okay, so regionally there are different positions with similar names. Okay, you guys remember what was the big long dorsal muscle in Nectarus? Dorsalis trunci. Okay, that's where these muscles come from. Okay, so I know one place you guys need to review. Okay, so that's how you free that up. So those here, you're going to spend the majority of your time in these 2 areas probably today. If you guys can get dorsal side dissected, ventral side minus abs done, you're in a good position right now. Once you get to the deep musculature to get to the rhomboids, okay, for you guys, you may want to grab your little sheet because I'm going to cross off some terms and say things that you guys don't need to know. So on your guys' sheet, Dr. Voorhees, this is on page 4. Dr. Voorhees had you guys identifying the rhomboideus and then the rhomboideus capitis. We're going to collectively just call those the rhomboids. Okay, so when you guys are looking for the rhomboids, what you need to do, and this is the part that always freaks out a lot of students, is have your partner that you're dissecting with take your cat, grab it by the elbows, and squeeze its elbows together. Okay, that's going to expand the scapulas, and you need to cut through the musculature right there. It's basically a fascia line. Take your pointer, stab it, and then open it up. Your rhomboids will be right under that. They're these rhombus-shaped muscles, that's how they get their name, and they're these thin straps that run across there. Next to the spine in that area, that's where the splenius muscles are, okay? So the splenius is adhering to the spines, those neural arches, and those spine, and all those things, the humeral arches that you guys learned last time. That's where the splenius muscles are going to be. You don't need to dissect them out, because we'll literally just move a rhomboid over, stick a pin in them deep, and that's how we'll identify them, okay? The rhomboids are these strap-like muscles that adhere to kind of the subscapularis area / the spine. So if you push the cat's arms together and it spread its shoulders apart, take your other thing, cut through there, open it up, and you'll be able to find those really, really easily. Lastly, neck. Depending on the care that the injection process had, your neck muscles could be torn to crap, okay? It just depends on how much injection compound they put in. Of course I get something in my eye when I have gloves on. So with this, I've sort of drawn the ventral side of the neck. Okay, so when you guys have skinned this area of your cat, you guys are going to want to look for these major muscles, because you guys will notice on page 5 of your packet, there is a section that says deep muscles to the neck and head, where it says like sternothyroid, thyrohyoid, cleidomastoid. We're gonna remove every single one of those except for the sternothyroid, okay?
So this is the only one.
So the only one you have to know out of that section is the sternothyroid. Okay, so what I'm going to go over now is the superficial muscles. It's the next section on top of that one that starts out with superficial muscles of neck, figure 3.3 or 3-3. So when you guys skin this, the muscle that runs right on the dentary, okay, you guys remember the dentary was literally on your practical last time like 5 times, okay? That is going to be your digastric, okay? It's going to be this V-shaped muscle that sits right here. In between that is a triangular shaped muscle. Its muscle fibers run transversely. That's the mylohyoid. Okay? So you've got your digastric mylohyoid, then running vertically down from the mylohyoid, that's your sternohyoid. Okay? So it's a paired musculature right at the midline. That's a strap muscle that goes up this way. And then there's a V-shaped muscle that goes over to the mastoid process, okay, of the temporal bone. That's your sternomastoid. If you guys want to take a picture of my little drawing with my key, you're more than welcome to as well, okay? The stylohyoid. The stylohyoid you might tear the crap out of, okay? It's super tiny. It sits adjacent to the the sternohyoid. And the mylohyoid. There's a thin muscle that connects the dentary to that, or it looks like it connects that. It's literally probably like 2 or 3 millimeters in size and width, so it's super tiny. These 2 muscles, like the sternomastoid, that is analogous to our sternocleidomastoid. Okay, it runs up that way. So these are the major muscles of the neck that I want you guys to try to find. If your cat was injected on the left side, all these muscles, except for maybe the digastric and the mylohyoid, are probably going to be destroyed. So you're going to have to look for the right side. Okay? So these are the major groups I want you guys to get through. A lot of these, the deltoids and the trapezius, you don't really have to dissect out. It's just you have to be able to find them. Okay? So you don't have to dig and separate both sides of it. As long as you can identify it, that's good enough. All right? When you guys get stuck, and you will get stuck, it's okay. Just call one of us over and we will get you through this. Muscles that you can bisect, so cutting in half, to free up the underlying musculature in the leg, you'll need to bisect the gracilis and the sartorius to free up the vastus grouping. When you bisect something, do not cut it next to the origin or insertion. Cut it right down the center, because then you can flap it open and then replace it so you can still identify it. If you snap it at an insertion or origin, it's going to flop all over the place and you're going to have no idea where it inserts or originates at. So if you cut it down the middle, you'll have both ends attached and you can fold it back up. The sartorius and the gracilis are the big bands of muscle, the superficial musculature on the thigh, on the inner thigh, okay? Same area as it is in humans. Other muscles that you can cut, I gotta remember. Yeah, triceps brachii you'll have to cut. You'll bisect that one to free up so you can see some of the forearm muscles and some of the underlying musculature there, okay? So, when in doubt, read your protocol on dissection, call one of us over, we'll get you through it. Get as far as you can today. It looked like everybody in here pretty much had the cat skinned for the most part. So you guys are in a good shape. If you're just have skinned your cat, start with the ventral side and start identifying these, or start on the ventral side and do those. Those are the easiest ones for you guys to start with because they're all superficial. Okay? Okay, let's start rocking and rolling. And if you guys want to take pictures of my cat and my key and all that, it's up here. And then